Think we're live. How we doing? I just hope everyone's having a good day. And I wanted to just do a quick little mini stream here whilst I'm on my lunch. Sometimes I run across a story or get in a conversation with somebody that is really interesting to me. And I'm living in the United Kingdom, and I'm watching news from the States, and I'm seeing videos of um, Dr. Stella Immanuel COVID-19 hydroxychloroquine cure video. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this to get people's opinions is simply down to why this is something that I think a lot of people would believe over, let's say, what I guess, quote, modern medicine or what the CDC, what the FDA, or in the UK, what the NHS would advise. So I'm looking at this from from the perspective of somebody that's living in another country. So granted, I'm not in the US and I don't have first person experience of what's going on. I only have the news, and a lot of people that I speak to will say the news is very biased and I'm not getting a clear view, which is why I'm very careful about fact checking things. And I also know that when you listen to the president of the United States talk, he's very concerned about fake news. He's very concerned about things being shared that aren't accurate. And it links in very much with what these claims that are being made by, let's say, this tweet that Trump promoted. So what it was there was a tweet promoted. It was a group of 10 doctors, I believe, who, excuse me, who were, I guess, extolling the virtues of hydroxychloroquine. Now, it's my understanding the FDA has pulled that drug back because there's further testing that needs to be done. I know in the NHS they're testing, in the UK they're testing hydroxychloroquine, but the results are far from comprehensive. And in this video, the doctors make statements along the lines of that there's a cure for COVID-19 and how the benefits of treating with hydroxychloroquine. And I had a friend who posted this on Facebook, and I simply said, this isn't a political debate I want to get into. I just wanted to find out why you believe this is authentic. So somebody who I believe is fairly intelligent has shared this video. This is the same person who, one of the same kind of people who would criticize, let's say, CNN or NBC or the Huffington Post for fake news. So I wanted to know, what was it in this video? Why is this video getting so much traction outside of the fact that the president shared it? And maybe that's a big reason why people are buying into this, is simply that the president of the United States shared it, and that's their boy. That's who they're backing. But I asked, why is that something you believe? And the reply I got back was interesting to me. So I essentially asked why, and he replied, I believe it to be genuine as I watched it. I believe this because these doctors that gave the interview are on the actual front line, not in an office making decisions based on what they think, but rather what they themselves have actually seen. And I don't know that there was any necessarily fact checking that's going on. So in that video, if you've seen it, as far as what Trump has shared, it's people in white coats. I've done just a quick search on, I guess, the provenance of this video, the people that are in it. And I can't really find anything that's comprehensive, that this is a doctor that's worked at this place, and here's why I should think they have a point of view that I should consider. I haven't found anything along those lines. If anything, Dr. Stella Immanuel, what I've seen, whether this is true or not, I don't know, and I'm not going to extol this as the truth, but had beliefs that involved alien DNA, which is problematic to say the least, especially if you're going to back that horse. As far as the winner, when I say horse, I'm talking about that opinion, not Dr. Stella Immanuel. So I just want to know why people have so much, why it's so easy to quickly buy into a video you've seen and done minimal checking on, and that video is so compelling that what the government agencies say. So we take a look at the CDC, the FDA, let's say the NHS in the UK, the World Health Organization. If we put politics aside, if we take a look at consensus, why this video, this video of 10 people in white coats is so believable just on its face, and why we have all these structures in place that have worked in the United States for many years to protect the US population from, let's say, medical trials going a bit off the rails. So, preventing, let's say, civilians from being paid to test drugs that could potentially harm them. So I know the FDA is very strict in the protocols as far as how they release drugs. And to have these group of doctors go on and extol the virtues of hydroxychloroquine when we can't really know, I guess, the quality of the advice they're giving. The quality of this advice is coming from people who have a lot of experience with hydroxychloroquine, have a lot of experience with treating COVID-19. And it's a bit of a theme that I'm seeing that people are so, is this confirmation bias, or am I not checking these? Should I be taking these things more seriously? Because again, these people that are sharing these things are quite, I mean, they're intelligent people. I've known them for many years, and I don't know what's happening in the US that, even basic fact checking isn't happening. And that's, I guess that's the really confusing piece, because you complain about CNN and fake news, but to then go and share something that is suspect at best, on what somebody named Dr. Stella Immanuel has said. So again, I'm just curious what people think. Why is this something that I should believe over? Is it a distrust of government? And let's say there is a distrust of government. Fine, I'll accept that you distrust the government. If you distrust the government, what buy-in into that video gives you trust? So you have reasons for distrusting the government. You think you're being lied to. We've never heard of Dr. Stella Immanuel before, ever. It's very difficult to check her background. Why do we believe her over the 1.1 million doctors in the USA? Now, I'm generalizing. Surely not 1.1 million doctors believe that hydroxychloroquine is dangerous, but we have systems and structures in place, and we have a consensus as far as how we treat people, how we test medicine. And what Dr. Stella Immanuel is saying is contrary to that. So if you do watch this video, I'd love to hear your take as to why should I listen to this. If you think this is a valid news story, if you think this is a video that Donald Trump shared that I should be paying more attention to. And if you do think that, why do you think this is more valid than, let's say, what your government's doctors are saying? So the people that were put in place by the people you've elected to keep you safe, to make sure that you're not getting medicines that are dangerous. Why now is what they're recommending, I guess, contrary to your well-being? Why is Dr. Stella Immanuel now the voice of reason over what is millions of people, not just in the US, but around the world, who have studied medicine, who take a Hippocratic oath to protect people, to make sure their advice is helping people? And it's not as if, people are dying left, right, and center over the last 10, 15 years because of these processes. Life expectancy is getting longer. The medical profession is doing a good job of keeping us alive. But I just don't see any logical reason why people follow these points. And it was interesting because that conversation evolved a bit, or maybe even devolved, depending on your point of view, because I did ask that question. And I did follow up to say it just seems like fake news to me, which is something that you very much are against. And I had a follow-up to say, I feel I need to reiterate to you, you are not living in the USA right now. Then you aren't seeing how this country is being destroyed by the left. At this point, it is entirely political, meaning everything that is going on right now is being allowed, orchestrated, pushed to destroy the peace of the country, to make the president and the administration look bad. If you don't believe that, come home for a bit. It's not the place that you left. I don't disagree with that last piece. It's not the place I left. It's scarily not the same. And if you're listening to this and you support the president, and all of my opinions about the president, I don't even get a chance to have an opinion on his politics. I have issues getting past his ability to reason and comprehend communication. And I guess my question, and I'm just going to ask this question because I think at this point, any sort of engagement I have on my social media page is going to be a bit a waste of my time. So I just wanted to share my reply with the general population. I guess my question is to those people who support Trump even right now. I think most people would agree that the country is in a bad state. And to blame the left is one thing, but the left and right have always existed. That's never changed. So at what point do you blame, I guess, the director of a company for the direction of a company? I mean, you see it in sports, in football over here, soccer over here. A manager gets 6 to 8 months before, okay, we're not getting the results, therefore you need to go. And I accept that Donald Trump is blaming Obama for things COVID related. I'm not going to get into that. However, if we agree that the country is not in a good state, how many years does Donald Trump need to put it into a good state? So does that mean 4 years isn't enough? Does he need 10 years? At what point do we look at the state of the country and say, well, the people that are leading it maybe have something to do with that? And this is not about him being or them being conservatives or right wing or, it's not that. It's let's take a look at the current state of affairs in the US and let's take a look at who's in charge. Because I'm judging the president based on the words that are coming out of his mouth solely. I totally accept that I'm listening to biased sources. It's not even hidden. If you listen to Fox News, there's biases there. If you listen to CNN, 100% there's biases there. It's very difficult living in another country outside of listening to the BBC or Sky News to get an unbiased version of events. So if I just judge the president on his words, we have to accept that his comprehension of messaging is suspect at best. That's my professional opinion. This is the only thing I can say is my professional opinion because I'm responsible for messaging where I'm at. And I would love somebody to be able to challenge me and tell me why I'm wrong about this. But I would not be able to give him a job as an account manager with a company. So somebody who's responsible for taking care of a customer and making sure communication to a group of customers is correct and they feel supported and they know the direction of the company. Because he doesn't understand how to communicate to people professionally. So that's something that I can't get past. And I think part of the problem in the US, if we just forget about everything else, is down to communication. And if you can't communicate to people, you can't lead people. So it's something that I'd love to get some engagement on this because living in the UK, and if you are a Trump supporter watching this, you can have reasons as to why this is the case. You can say that it's down to the news media just totally derailing what the president wants to do just to try to make him look bad. But just remember, that's happened to every president, and how they've dealt with it may have impacted the outcome. So how Obama, how Bush, how Reagan, how Bush, the other Bush also dealt with it would have been quite different than how Donald Trump dealt with it. And you can see there's a notable difference in the outcomes of how they've dealt with media criticism. And it's the sensitivity of President Trump. He's very sensitive. He's very concerned with how he looks to the point that it sort of overcomes the content of the message. The message isn't about the content. The message is about, it's replying. And there's a lot of insecurity in that. And I think that has a huge impact on how he's delivering that message. It's not necessarily agenda driven. It's not necessarily process driven. It's just totally reactive. And America is a big country. There's a lot of checks and balances in place. And when the person at the top of that cog is just saying shit, it's really hard for people to legitimately work with him and to legitimately communicate with the people. And I very much think that's, we could take a look at these videos about Dr. Stella, Immanuel, and giving, 10 doctors out of 1.1 million giving their opinion on why hydroxychloroquine is safe and why everybody should be taking it because it's a bit of hyperbole, so apologies, but why everybody should be taking hydroxychloroquine to cure themselves of COVID. But people don't know how to work together over there. And I don't think anybody will argue that point. I think the states and the government aren't working together. And just take that in isolation. The governors aren't worried about what the media says when they speak to Donald Trump. They speak to Donald Trump directly. Even, is it Chris Cuomo, or is that the brother who's on CNN? Governor Cuomo in New York. He does watch the media, but he does speak with the president directly. So it's not as if the media is impacting his ability to speak to the president and to get his take and to coordinate messaging. Even though they speak face to face, that messaging isn't there. So, yeah, sorry, I've been sort of rambling on a bit. So if you've stuck around this long, please comment in the video below. Let me know what your thoughts are. I will come back on and I will share your views and I will comment on them. I will comment on them in the video as well. Why should I believe these statements. So those Trump supporters, why should I believe that hydroxychloroquine is the cure, and why Dr. Stella is more plausible than the FDA? Why should I believe Dr. Stella over the FDA? And that's without me checking the provenance of Dr. Stella. So that's pretty much it. I need to get back to work, but felt good to kind of get that out and to talk about that. It helps me get my thoughts in order. Hugo, if you're watching this, look it up, mate. It's a weird one. It's kind of crazy world over there. So yeah, if this is your first time watching, please like and subscribe to our channel. We're going to be putting out some more shorter videos this week, and we do have our normal show scheduled on Sunday afternoons, and I think we're going to be trying to do another show during the week in the evenings. But anyway, thanks for your time. For those people that popped in to listen, thanks for giving me some of your time, and I look forward to speaking with you again.